I wonder if he's
Good.
gonna be right on time. Is he gonna be early? It's like we're going on a it's like the 5 of us are going on a first date.
I showered for this.
Me too, actually, because I've been moving all day, so
Everybody mute your phones too.
uh, mine's been on mute since the fucking Obama administration, so
Pew, 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 pew.
welcome to the ToyBoyz podcast where we talk everything toys. I'm Chad, and I'm joined today by Eric, Chris, and Jared. We're missing Avery, who is currently deployed in Germany. ToyBoyz, assemble. Today, we're beyond excited to welcome Brian Volk-Weiss, director, producer, founder of the Nacelle Company. Known for his passion for nostalgia and pop culture, Brian is the visionary behind hit documentary series like The Toys That Made Us, The Movies That Made Us, A Toy Store Near You, and The Center Seat. He's also been instrumental in the rise of stand-up comedy specials and reviving defunct toy lines. His work spans television, film, and comedy, always with a focus on celebrating beloved pop culture phenomenon. Welcome to the ToyBoyz podcast, Brian Volk-Weiss.
What an intro. Thank you. I'm going to play that for my wife. She needs to hear that.
We'll make sure we send you we'll make sure we send it to you. So like I said, you're in a virtual room right now with, some of your biggest fans right here, and we love your work with the Nacelle Company and Nacelle Toys. Can you kind of talk to us a little bit about how all of that got started?
Yeah, it was pretty weird. So we did The Toys That Made Us, and that came out, I guess, 7 years ago at this point. And it changed everything. It was like a light switch for us. We're a completely different company than we were before that. And one day, I guess about 3 years later, this guy emails me out of the blue and he's like, "Hey, I'm a toy agent. I represent toy designers. I bet if we work together, you'll have a better career and I'll have a better career." So I was like, "What? I don't really understand, but yeah, let's give it a try." And I'm shortening the story. It's actually a little crazier than that, but it ended with me saying, "Okay, let's try." So we tried. First thing he brought in was RoboForce, and he said the rights were available. Was I interested? Even though I knew very little about RoboForce because nobody did, I had a pretty big RoboForce collection. I had all the characters, I had the play set. Now my RoboForce collection is crazy. But even back then, I probably had 2 or 3 dozen pieces. So we got RoboForce. And, again, it's the beauty of being born in this country. We just tried. It was like, what's the first step? Oh, I guess you need a designer. We found a designer. The designer designed stuff. And it was like, all right, I guess we need a sculptor. So we found a sculptor and we sent the designs to the sculptor. Then it was like, I guess we need a factory. So we started looking for a factory. And then it took about a year, but the pieces started coming in somehow. We were very lucky. We also, that was the other thing. We were like, okay, we're making the toys. This is great. We should probably figure out how to distribute them. That could be helpful. So simultaneously with making the toys and learning all of this, we became a distributor. So we literally just started calling all the mom and pop stores all across the US and Canada. We built up a network that's now well over 400 stores. But by the time RoboForce was ready to sell, it was probably about 80 to 100.
Oh, wow.
Somehow it was profitable, even though it's conservatively 30% more expensive to make than it should have been. Because we didn't know what we were doing. And we learned, and then our next line, we kept learning. And now we've convinced the Paramount Corporation to let us make Star Trek toys.
Man, that is
And it's only been 3 years. I would argue it's only been 2 because it took us a while to get going. We
yeah,
didn't
get it going.
we
Yeah.
didn't even get the RoboForce copyright for about 6 months after we hired the guy I was telling you about, Michael Goodman. But somehow we were able to get the rights to Star Trek toys.
That's amazing. So, as we all know, you're a huge Star Trek fan. We saw that in Vegas. We've heard you talk about it. We've seen the toys that made us episode about the Star Trek toys. I mean, what made you decide that that was going to be a line for you for the Nacelle toys?
I don't I mean, the answer to your question is, 43 of my 48 years of life, I've wanted to make Star Trek toys. I think the more interesting answer is, how did we, having only made toys for 2 years, 3 years, like, how did we get entrusted to it? That's the weird part. I mean, what Trekkie wouldn't want to make Star Trek toys?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, it's a little easier now that StarTrek.com put out the announcement, but
Yeah.
like, I still feel like everything I'm saying to you are lies. I mean, I
All
literally
fantasy.
cannot believe any of this is happening, like at all.
Yeah. So this is like science fiction becoming science fact in your life, almost a little
Yeah.
bit.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's that
yeah,
bizarre.
it's like I'm living in a dream.
Wow.
So, can you share more about how you decide which characters to include, especially in the upcoming line here?
Well, I don't want to get in trouble and I don't want to freak you guys out. So I'm gonna leave. Don't get warm. I'm gonna leave my shirt down. So don't panic. But
Okay, all right.
you
Okay.
see this thing here?
Is that an appendix to
That's called a gut.
Yep.
And I basically say to this thing, hey, what do you think the fans want? Luckily for me, in this case, I am one. So, I mean, again, this is going to sound like such BS, but I swear to you, it's true. I look at my shelf and I see who's not there. And that's it. I mean, that's it. That's really it. And I'll tell you a fun fact. As you can imagine, even though we've only been making toys for 2 or 3 years, I've been playing with when I was a kid and collecting toys my whole life practically, right? So, and thanks to Toys That Made Us, I became friends with a lot of the owners of toy companies. So the thing that I pitched Paramount that got us this opportunity, I had been pitching every toy company I was friends with. Every single one, saying to them, why don't you do this figure? Why don't you do that figure? Even companies that had the rights, like Super 7. Like, I would always be like, I love Picard. Picard's great. He really, I mean, few role models for my job have been more important than Captain Picard. I
Clearly.
really stylized a lot of my leadership on what I've seen him do on the show.
Nice.
That being said, I probably have 50 of them, maybe 60, all different sizes, all different companies, all different colors, all different uniforms, all different attachments. And again, Patrick Stewart, Jean-Luc Picard, please don't be mad at me for saying this. I don't need another Picard. In my will, there's a quote, a Captain Kirk quote, that's literally going to be on my tombstone when they bury me. I probably have 150 to 200 Captain Kirks. I don't need another Captain Kirk in his maroon 23rd century uniform, which, by the way, for years, I told every girl I dated I wanted to wear when I was getting married. So you can imagine how crazy it, don't worry, I didn't do it. But my wife.
Happy anniversary, by the way. Didn't you just have happy anniversary? We just saw, we wanted to make sure we
There
threw
would
that.
be no anniversary if I had shown up in a late 23rd. But thank you. So that's what I pitched all these toy companies, and who didn't do what I asked, which we'll find out in about 6 months if I was smart or stupid. And then we basically what happened was we do the figures for a TV show called The Expanse. And as word spread, and more importantly, images spread of the work we were doing, that is what got us into the conversation at Paramount. So without The Expanse, we wouldn't be here right now talking about this.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris. I think you got a question about this as well.
Yeah. I know there's like a lot of stuff that you can't tell us about the line because it's still kind of fresh and everything. But are there any details that you can share about like maybe how many figures we can expect to see in each wave? Or will it be a random assortment of characters from each series, like in every wave? I mean, are there characters that are off limits?
If this was a Nacelle toy like RoboForce or Biker Mice, I'd tell you anything.
Yeah.
We just started working with Paramount, as you can imagine, and this would be the same at Disney, Warner's, anywhere. It's not just Paramount. There are a lot of rules.
Yeah,
So I gotta make sure I don't break any of those rules.
definitely. Okay.
I can tell you, and I'll be completely honest with you, I don't even know if I should say this or not. Like, even as benign as what I'm about to say is, I don't even know if this is okay to say, but I'm going to say it. It will be a mixture. Every wave will be a mixture. So there's not going to be a Deep Space Nine wave. There's not going to be a Voyager wave.
Wow.
So I mean, I'm looking just to be a complete jerk. Generations, Wrath of Khan, Star Trek 3, Voyager, Star Trek 4. I got to be coy about this one and say Next Generation, even though that's true, but barely. That's a clue. So yeah, and that's not even the all of wave one. But that's a big part of it.
So is the new Trek stuff?
No.
No.
We have the rights to the original series, to Star Trek Enterprise, and all the movies that were made in between. So
Okay.
basically, the last thing we can touch on is season 5 of Voyager and Nemesis.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So just season 5 of Voyager, the last 2 seasons were off limits for some reason?
Wait, Voyager?
Oh, I thought you said season 5 of Voyager. Did you mean?
No, Enterprise. Sorry.
Oh, season 4 of Enterprise. Okay.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm
So
with you.
the last episode of Enterprise is the furthest back we can go, or the furthest, I guess the closest we can go on TV. And Nemesis, I believe, is the newest we can do for the films.
Cool.
Nice.
So we could see a dead Trip figure then from the last episode of Enterprise, actually, potentially.
It'll look a lot like the Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru figure. But yes, in theory, we could. Too soon?
I was about to spoiler alert, everybody, in case you haven't seen the end of Enterprise.
I would never do that. I mean, I would like to do this, but I never would. I mean, God, could you imagine doing the Troy and Riker from the last episode that pissed everybody off?
Oh my God!
Like Riker as the chef.
By the way, they look like they did in season 7. There's nothing special about them except the packaging.
The con exclusive.
Last episode of
Riker would need like a chef's hat, because wasn't he playing the chef in the holodeck a lot on that episode? He would,
Yeah, right.
Do you know if we'll be seeing some prototypes maybe like Comic-Con next year, or
definitely next year.
okay.
Maybe this year.
Oh.
I mean, just so you know, I'm looking at 3 of them right now.
Oh,
Okay.
Nice.
Oh wow! Oh man, that's really cool to know that they're all. Man, that gets me crazy excited about.
Are they in the design phase right now, or like you have actual like figures?
If he pulls something down, I'm gonna cry. I will openly weep. Like
All right.
Oh,
nice.
Oh man!
Wow. Okay.
Oh man!
All right.
Wow.
All right. I'm tearing up.
They're ready to go.
So
I have all the artwork here. and 3 of the prototypes. The other 3 are coming this Friday.
Man, that's
Oh
amazing.
wow.
Um,
Wow.
I know Chris asked about Comic-Con. How are you feeling about STLV next year? About next August? Do you think that's in the air and a
If
possibility?
I'm invited, I will be there. Yeah, I had a blast. By the way, good news, bad news. That floor was as bad and dangerous as I thought it would be. It was literally a worst case scenario. My wife was like, is it really like a floor of only Star Trek stuff? And I'm like, it can't be. It can't be. That's impossible. And it fucking was.
Oh
It-
yeah,
It was 98.5% Star Trek.
yeah,
Maybe
man,
99.
yeah. How'd you feel about that factory entertainment stuff? Their
Well, I'm
product?
tight with Jordan, so I'd seen it all at San Diego Comic-Con, or he'd even like texted me pictures.
So is Jordan the guy that looks like Chris Lloyd that works with Factory Entertainment?
There's an older bald guy and a younger British dude with a lot of hair. He's the older bald guy.
Yeah, so the older
Yeah,
bald
yeah.
guy. So we actually, Chris and I have a story that happened at your panel actually, where as soon as your panel was over, I went up to walk up to you because I was hoping we could catch the interview on spot and you had to run. But as I was walking up, some guy walked behind me, like right next to me, really. And Chris, our mustached friend here on the video chat, was like, "Dude, Chris Lloyd walked right by you, bro." And I was like, "No way, no way did Chris Lloyd was like spitting distance from me and I missed him." He's like, "Yeah, Chris Lloyd." And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was dying. So then the next panel came up, and Factory Entertainment, it was their panel. And Jordan was up on stage with Factory Entertainment, and Chris goes, "Oh, wait a minute. I think that's the guy that I thought was Chris Lloyd." So we're dying laughing in the panel, and we saw him later. We chased him down for like, I mean, it was like half a mile. I swear, we chased this man half a mile, and we're like, "Hey, we just wanted to let you know that we accidentally thought you were Chris Lloyd. Can we get a photo with you and then post it and pretend like you are Chris Lloyd?" So then we sent all of our friends to him. He loved the story because they got robbed at STLV. They got all their
do.
stuff was stolen.
I
And
do.
it totally made his whole trip for him and his son. That really kind of turned things around for them because the fact that we turned it into a meme that everybody thought that he was Chris Lloyd. So that actually, I forgot that happened at your panel until we were talking about it right now.
Yeah, no, that was terrible what happened to them. It happened to a lot of people, it wasn't just them.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
But
lot.
no,
Yeah.
he was one of the first people to reach out to me after the news last week. Got a text from him,
Nice.
big congrats. By the way, I mean, half of what I spent in San Diego was at his booth. I bought the cat's paw thing in the Lexite.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
got the Aaliyah's pendant
Yeah.
from the motion picture. And I got something else from him too. I mean, God, does he make some crazy stuff. I mean, the confidence it takes to I mean, you understand you spend the money to make this shit before you know if people want it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Just sit here and give you basic capitalism 101 for a second. So the fact that he's making these cat's paws keychain, yeah. I
Yeah.
want to say I don't know who's going to buy that, but I bought it. So I guess I'm a
Somebody's
hypocrite.
got to do it. Yeah. Somebody else has got to be into it. Yeah. Were there any other vendors, any like Exo6 or anybody who caught your eye in that
Well,
room?
no, again, Exo6 doesn't because I'm buying their stuff all year long. So, and I know some of the people there, so they hook me up with stuff that's like a year out. So
I
no,
got you.
but I wish I knew her name, but I don't. There was this woman with a stall. I mean, she was literally my wife's, like whatever my wife's biggest fear would be of me finding a stall that would bankrupt our family, it was this woman. Like, and I did something I've never done before. I took her business card because I just had to stop buying stuff. I mean, she had the most, I mean, do you understand how rare it is for me to see stuff in Star Trek I haven't seen before? I bet you conservatively 40% of her table I had never seen before, not even pictures of it. She had a Star Trek II Walkman.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Like I don't know if you saw me post, I got the Star Trek, the motion picture, like, knife that they gave out at the
No, I
motion
don't think I saw the
picture
knife.
premiere.
No.
That was from her.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I had to FedEx that home because of the flights. Like, yeah. So she was dangerous, and I had a friend of mine. I'm not gonna say who it was, because you know who it is, or you probably do. But I had a friend of mine who was like at another booth, who was watching me at her booth, and she said to me later, yeah, if that woman wasn't in her 70s, I was gonna text your wife. I mean, I was there for like an hour. Like, I mean, literally, she was doing this thing like you see in movies, but you never see in real life. She was like, you want to see the good stuff? Go under. And I'm like, oh no, oh no. Then as I'm getting ready to pay, she goes, you want to see the really good stuff? And then and pulling it out. So yeah, that was bad. That was bad. That was bad.
Man. I must have missed her. I don't, because I feel like if I would have seen the Wrath of Khan Walkman, I would have stopped immediately, at least just to check it out.
Yeah, the price may have caught your attention too.
I wouldn't doubt that. I would not.
But I will say this: I was able to do something nice for my wife, even though she probably doesn't think it's that nice. So I bought in Denver about 10 years ago. Do you ever see the display that Hallmark made when they first started doing their Christmas ornaments? It's of the space shuttle, and you push the button, and it's like a moon with a space station. I paid $45 for that.
Oh, wow.
I saw one at the convention for $750.
Whoa.
I took a picture and I sent that to my wife.
Look at how much money I saved us by buying $45.
Yeah, but then you know what my wife always says? She always goes, it's not worth anything if you're not gonna sell it.
It's the same thing my wife says.
Do you have the really dark answer for her when she says that?
This will all be yours one day. And you can sell it.
That's what I always say.
It's going to be worth so much more by then, too.
Yeah,
As
I'm like,
far
the
as
good
the
news
eye
is
can
you're
see.
gonna sell it
Yeah.
for a lot more.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm looking at your USS flag and everything behind you, Eric. Yeah, you've got a ton of stuff that your wife is going to be just thrilled to inherit one day. When it
You have
comes
the railing? You got the back railing?
Yes. Yeah, the
Oh.
only thing I'm missing is the loudspeaker microphone thing.
That's weird. That's not hard to find at all.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess I could go try to find it and make it complete, but it didn't really matter display-wise, so
Yeah,
I'm
I'm the
good with
same
the
with
way it
that
looks.
kind of thing. Yeah. But no, that railing is $250 to $350 now.
A lot of people are 3D printing these parts now for these old toys,
But
which
they
I'm not a
know.
fan of. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric, you got some questions. Where's Eric?
Well, so Eric, I was actually gonna set you up here a little bit because I know beyond Star Trek, you've got some other upcoming toy lines.
Well, actually, I wanted to jump back to Star Trek 'cause there was something we didn't
Yeah.
cover, and that was of the new figures coming out, the scale. So I heard they're going to be 1/12 scale, and I was curious, how did you land on that decision, Brian?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of 1/12 or 1/10 or 1/50th. I find that very confusing. Oh, he's 6'4". Let me get
Let me
out
do the
my
math.
size.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're
Okay,
all
6 inches.
6 to 7 inches, and they'll be closer to 7 inches. I just don't
Nice.
like saying 7 inches, like with The Expanse. I don't know if you're fans or not, but there's a
Yeah.
character named Bobby. I mean, when she's in her Goliath suit, she's almost 8 feet tall. Well, of course she's going to be taller than Detective Miller. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So they'll be 6 to 7 inches. Some could even be more than 7 inches. To answer your question, why? Because I believe in going forwards. I don't like going backwards. And as much as I love Playmates,
Yeah.
that's going backwards. And believe me,
Yes.
there's going to be people complaining about this, and they have every
We've
right
seen
to.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
The current bar is Black Series and Classified. And that's who we want to be compared to. And by the way, not just that, selfishly speaking, I want to do the quality. I want to do the detail. And you can't do the detail at 4.5 inches that you can do at 7 inches.
Certainly.
So that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, if these are aimed at adult collectors mostly, they're more like mini museum pieces for us.
Yeah.
And if they're too cartoony looking or dumbed down or only come with one accessory, it's definitely a disappointment.
Yeah. So that's, you have to make a decision and pray to God it doesn't piss too many people off. And by the way, once we reveal the figures, we're going to listen. For anyone who was following us when we announced Biker Mice, they initially were not going to have ab crunch. I'm not a toy photographer, so I buy a toy. I have well over 4,000 toys. I open it, I put it on the shelf, and that's where it stays until I move.
Mhm.
So to me, ab crunch really isn't necessary. Well, let's just say the Biker Mice community thinks it's very necessary. So we added ab crunch. So we'll do the same thing here. We listen. We've gotten over 400 emails before today of fans reaching out to us, telling us what they want us to make. So that's how we're going to do this. That's a big part of this.
So what they want you to make for the Star Trek line specifically, you've received
Yeah.
400 emails? Wow.
Collider did an article on Friday about what we're doing with Star Trek and included an email address for anybody who wanted to give us suggestions.
Sure. And then maybe Aaron, whenever we're editing this, we can pop that email up right here too for anybody who wants to email.
Please, yeah, thank
reach
you.
out. Yeah. That's great, man. I feel like I had another question, but I got so distracted by Star Trek stuff that my brain I think just got overloaded. Well, what's next for, the Nacelle Company beyond Star Trek? And I know you've got some of the stuff you mentioned before, Biker Mice and everything. What else have you got coming up?
So, we have more waves of RoboForce, Biker Mice, and Sectars all coming next year. We have the Expanse, which we talked about coming next year. We have a couple properties that we're hoping to close the deals on and announce. So the Nacelleverse is expanding. We do make TV shows. Don't forget that. So we got a lot of TV shows coming out next year. Also, we did a pretty big deal with Walmart. So going all across the country as we speak, end caps, Nacelleverse end caps are starting to pop up at Walmarts all over the US. So
Oh.
between last week and the end of October, we'll be in well over 2,000 Walmarts. And you can buy RoboForce Garblu, which is a Walmart exclusive variant.
Nice.
Max 89 Wrecker. So yeah, that's all gonna be in every Walmart you go. Not every, but most.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait to see that. Can't wait to see it. Eric, did you have one more questions about the TV productions and stuff like that we were talking about?
Yeah, we're all super excited that a season 4 and 5 of the Toys That Made Us is coming. And we saw the toys that are going to be featured there, which all look really great.
Thank you.
I was curious, like, are there other toys you still have in mind to go beyond that? Like, do you have a long list and you can keep going for many years, or where does it ever end? Or
Is the Pope Catholic? Yeah, we will keep going until people don't want no more. The first time we have a season that does badly, that'll probably be the last season.
Because the
Well, I'll tell
interesting
you,
thing about nostalgia is like the needle is always moving as time progresses. So like the first season, was very heavily focused on 80s stuff, first couple seasons, and now it seems to be moving more into like the 90s. And the ToyBoyz is kind of split. Like I'm the oldest one here, I'm 50. The other guys, they're like a decade younger, so they're like super excited about like the 90s stuff and the 90 toy lines and whatnot, where I'm more the Star Wars, Star Trek, G.I. Joe, Transformers kind of guy. So we all complement each other. But it's a great show, even if it's a toy I've never heard of. The way it's produced, it's very entertaining and heavy on the detail, the information and whatnot. So definitely looking forward to it.
Thank you. Very
yeah,
kind.
man. I'll say that they're gonna have to do good because I myself, I'll watch each episode at least 10 times. Even the stuff that like I didn't grow, even like I'll watch the Barbie episode 10 times, My Little Pony 10 times, even stuff I didn't play with as a kid. I'll watch them over and over and over again just for, I mean, the nostalgia, but also just for the information, just to have that information. They're all really well produced and put together. They're all so entertaining. And I mean, I love every single episode personally.
Very kind. Thank
Cool.
you.
Well, Brian, we know you got to go, and we appreciate you sitting down and talking to us today. And I mean, we genuinely appreciate it. We're such huge fans, and we're so just honored and humbled, and just so
Very
lucky and
kind.
fortunate to get to speak to you today. So thank you again for being here with us.
Yeah, vice versa. You guys, I appreciate your interest, and I could talk about this for 25 hours. So we should probably wrap it up before we get.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's Erin's problem is she edits these episodes for us. So when we ramble on too much, she tries to give us the hook. So with that being said, that wraps up another episode of the ToyBoyz podcast. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, social media, at the ToyBoyz podcast, and check out our merchandise. On behalf of Chris, Jared, Eric, Brian Volk-Weiss, and myself, thanks for listening. ToyBoyz, disassemble.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah. So, Erin, I like that.
Is it backwards?
It is not for us.
Is it backwards now?
No, it's still the
Okay.
same.
Looks good.
I've never quite understood what the mirror my video button does on
It
Zoom,
mirrors
and now
it for
I
you,
understand it's
yeah.
only for me. I always
Yeah.
thought it was like for the other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I know that's annoying. No, it looks great for us.
Is my background backwards for you guys?
No, it's not. We actually just went through this before you got here.
With me.
It is not.
What about now?
Nope.
It is not. Erin did the same thing. You guys are made for. You guys literally just. It was almost like word for word verbatim what she said.
Yep.
No. Eric, I feel like your background should just be what it is.
Yeah,
like,
don't
it's
change your
not-
background,
Yeah,
Eric.
yeah. It's not gonna get better than what a USS flag in the background and
I'm
like.
hoping there'll be some reaction, or
Yeah,
that'll
yeah,
kick
yeah.
off the
I was
conversation.
thinking he might be like, wait a minute, is that like a USS flag behind you?
I've got 3 of them.
Oh, you've only got one? Wow.
She sells seashells by the shore.
Unique New York.
Sibilance.
Ow now, brown cow.
The arsonist had oddly shaped feet.